What's going on, everyone? Today's live Browns report is sponsored by Mint Mobile, with plans starting as low as $15 a month. They're helping the Dawg Pound out. That way you guys can beat inflation with affordable cell phone coverage on the largest 5G network. Ryan Reynolds, you may have heard of him. Well, he owns and operates Mint Mobile. So start today over at mintmobile.com/chatsports. What's going on, everyone? Another live show. We got a lot of fun stuff. We got a busy live show, if I do say so myself, because even though it's like late July, you look around the landscape of the NFL and nothing's going on except for the Browns. The Browns have been busy, right? And now we've got some Sheldon Richardson return rumors and some quarterback rumors and all that good stuff. So we're going to start things off by letting the audience build up a little bit by posing this question to all of you guys watching at home. Should the Browns bring back Sheldon Richardson? They moved on from him just over a year ago, but the NFL's a business. It's not personal. Andrew Berry saw an opportunity to save some dimes and nickels at a position he didn't value very highly, so he decided to go a cheaper route with the two Maliks. So I could see it happening, but let me know why for yes and for no if you guys think that Sheldon Richardson should come back to the land. We're going to give some shout-outs here on the show. We'll let the audience build up. All right, let's see. Zachary saying, I'm finally on time. We're very proud of you, Zach. We're very proud. Day late, dollar short, but not today. All right, KJ Grant. Yo, I'm here. What's up, KJ? Always see you. You're part of the Noti gang, so you're always on top of things here at Chat Sports. Okay. Anyone else has Slack at their office? Sorry right now for giving you guys PTSD here. Our Slack's blowing up here. Noah, first time catching a stream this early. Yeah, well, you know what, Noah? We're happy to have you along here. So let's get the question back on screen. Also, you just spam FPIT. You never have to wait for me to ask to say FPIT, right? That is something we can always agree on. Just get it going in the comments section, because every single day is a good day to say, F the Pittsburgh Steelers. Bosses, like the not fun bosses in today, so I'm going to have to try and censor myself a little bit. Not on Rumble, though. All right, Nate saying F-Pit, Robert Jones at a reasonable price. Yeah, I think if Sheldon Richardson were to come back, really, let's start this way. If Sheldon Richardson signs anywhere right before training camp, he's signing for a vet minimum, and because of what he's done so far in his career, he'll have an opportunity to make some more in incentives, but he's not going to be getting crazy kind of money here. All right, well, I crack open my Coors Light, not a sponsor, but free sponsor to them right now. Shout out your city. Where are you guys watching from? Kyle saying first live. Kyle, we're happy to have you here, man. We're going to talk about the Brownies, talk about some training camp, a lot of news and rumors to get to, from the quarterback position to, like we were just talking about, Sheldon Richardson. Plus, what does Vegas know? Vegas is taking lines down. Vegas is always on top of things. But I want to know where everyone's watching from. KJ's in Cleveland. Zach's in Columbus. Bob's in Dayton. Go yours. Noah's in Youngstown. Fletcher's in Memphis, but he lives in Austin. He always forgets that. Well, Fletcher, you're a fun guy. Mariano says F-Pit, Baltimore, and Cincinnati. Cheers to you, Mariano, because that works too. You can say F to all of them. Cardiac's in Westlake. What's up, Cardiac? Cardiac Dogs Podcast is another great place to get Browns content. Check them out if you haven't already. Always fun to listen to them on my drive to and from work. All right, God's Child, born and raised in Cleveland. Born in Cleveland, raised in Vegas. Hopefully not like a Raiders fan. You know what's kind of amazing to me? The Allegiant Stadium, it's kind of dawned on me maybe halfway through the year last year, is named after Allegiant Airlines. How does such a bottom-tier airline able to afford the sponsorship for one of the newest stadiums in the NFL? When I heard that and it really clicked, I'm like, it doesn't make any sense. That's an airline where, like, when you get on board, you know what you're risking, and they're like, hey, if the pilot's not here, we're taking volunteers to see who wants to hop in the cockpit. All right, let's go. Gotcha, F no, F the Raiders. All right. So it is National Junk Food Day, and we had an office debate earlier, and as you guys know, I like to let the Dawg Pound settle Chat Sports office debates. What is the most overrated fast food place? Let me know in the comments. We're going to poll the whole room here because, as always, producer Marshall Green on the ones and twos, Patrick Seaman helping out behind the curtain. But let me know where you guys think the most overrated fast food place is. This isn't nationwide, and I don't even think it's really highly rated, but White Castle sucks. Has anyone ever gone to White Castle except Harold and Kumar and enjoyed their trip there? I don't think so at all. Oh boy. We got a Whataburger. That's going to rile up everyone in Texas. Sonic. I like Sonic. Marshall, chime in.
Sonic is good. You know, they have a diverse menu. You can do a lot of different stuff. It's more of a snacky place than I feel like a meal place. But if I had to say the most overrated, I don't even know if it's good. Taco Bell sucks.
Oh, that's good.
It always hurts.
The people going.
It messes my stomach up. I got a sensitive stomach.
Taco Bell, it's always a love-hate relationship with the Bell, right? But you got some votes coming in for Taco Bell, McDonald's, In-N-Out. Justin, I like where your mindset is at with In-N-Out, because if you're not from California, it's not really as good as they make it out to be. You would think In-N-Out cured world hunger, but no, it's just a decent fast food burger. That's all it is. All right, guys, we got some more questions and whatnot to get to as we let everyone file in, hop in their seats, get ready for the show. So while we're doing that, spam F-Pit, right? We're going to give some shout-outs here before we really jump into the meat and potatoes of today's show. But spam F-Pit if you hate the Steelers down below. Good way to get on screen, by the way. You can always just spam F-Pit, but that doesn't guarantee you a spot on screen, because then you're at the mercy of Marshall and who he decides has the good name and has the good avatar. Or you can guarantee a spot on screen by either super chatting or super thanks. So if you missed the live show, but you want to make a contribution to our efforts here at the Browns Report, like my guy Davison Taylor and Herman Turrington, hope I pronounced that correct. Well, they dropped down a little super thanks earlier this week. So shout out to you guys. Cheers to you. Always appreciate the donations here. I always said it goes to my dog's toy fund. Now my dog's toy bin is way too loaded. So now I got to find a new place to allocate that to. Someone commented back to Davis and Taylor's super thanks saying, way to go supporting his alcoholism. Yeah, sorry I like to party. Didn't know that was a crime in America. But spam F-Pit down below. Let's see. Cincinnati is not a real threat for Marino. KJ and Grant saying F-Pit. Jerry, overrated Burger King. I think actually Burger King may not be as bad as people make it out. What are you drinking? Coors Latte, as always. But this is the last one. So either we got to get some more before next Thursday or... Oh, my God. Here we go. What's Noah saying? My mom's side of the family are Pittsburgh fans, and my dad's side are Browns fans. I want to know what Thanksgiving is like at your house. That's got to be a fun Thanksgiving. Imagine if the Browns and the Steelers played on Thanksgiving in the Noah Steffler household. All right. Nate saying F-Pit. David saying F-Pit. Yeah, you can never go wrong with saying F-Pit. We've got a lot of good stuff to get to in just a second, but we do have a new sponsor. All right, we want to tell everyone about here. That way you guys can get the best absolute coverage out there. So let me tell you all about the benefits happening over at Mint Mobile. You may have already heard of them. They're Ryan Reynolds' new phone company that's got so many great things for the Dawg Pound. Unlimited talk and text, right? But more than that, they have high-speed data over the largest 5G network in the country. Mobile hotspot if you're on the go, plus with inflation as bad as it is right now, they have plans starting as low as $15 a month. That's why I made the change, and I invite you guys to do the same. When you go to mintmobile.com/chatsports, that link's being peppered into the live chat right now. Click on it. Boom. You guys are going to start your day on a good note here, or continue your day on a good note when you make the change over to Mint Mobile, and your change will be seamless when you can keep your phone number, keep your same phone with eSIM. If you don't even have a phone compatible with eSIM, Mint Mobile will mail you one free of charge, and you are on your way. We do have a mailbag coming up, by the way, towards the end of the show, the kind of the last third of it. So if you want to be a part of it, really simple stuff. Just use hashtag Browns or Super Chat. Super Chat guarantees you a spot on screen. Use hashtag Browns, and you're at the mercy of Marshall and whose questions he likes or doesn't like. And so Marshall can be picky sometimes, but that way you can bypass it all together. Either way, I invite you to be a part of the show. Get aboard and get on top of it. That way you never miss a thing. All right, we're about to ready to dive into the show. Yeah. One quick thing, Marshall, can you move the fan back? It's like a wind turbine in my ear right now. Yeah, Marshall, he sweats really easily, so he puts his fan on him, but then his mic, then the wind blows into his mic, and it's better now. And it sounds like God is blowing into my ear right now. It is just going off. But here's what we got on today's live show. We got the latest news and rumors, and they're loaded, they're juicy, they are filling the Mad Lib adjective, plus a Q&A towards the end of the show, but in between, 5 players to watch at training camp because training camp is 5 days away. I mean, that's when everyone's reporting. We'll get some shells and some real live contact shortly afterwards. But I figured it'd be a good time to just start planting names in people's heads of, oh yeah, this guy needs to show up at Berea, or this guy really needs to perform well if he wants to keep his job. So that's what we got on tap for everyone today. Marsh, should we good on the 1s and 2s? All right, I'm going to take a big sip. I want to dive into this bad boy. Okay. No, would you slack me, Marsh? Thanks, Jay. Okay. Oh, I'll check it later. All right, here we go. Let's jump into the latest Cleveland Browns rumors. Today's Browns Report is sponsored by Mint Mobile. You may have already heard of the company as they are owned by the actor Ryan Reynolds, and he's offering the Dawg Pound an awesome deal right now with plans starting as low as $15 a month. Start saving today when you go to mintmobile.com/chatsports. Links in the comments and the description of today's show. Proud to tell you more about their awesome benefits later on in the show. But let's jump into the latest Cleveland Browns rumors on today because it's busy, right? There is a lot going on right now surrounding the Browns as we get ready for training camp and all that. So we're going to break it down, as always, using our Bernie Kosar heads, our Bernie heads rumor meter reveal. So let's jump into the first one on today's show. The Browns, are they working out some quarterbacks? Yep, 4 Bernie heads, Believeland. This is happening. You may have seen it already earlier today when we're filming this right now on Thursday during our live Browns show, because Jeremy Fowler tweeted out that morning saying the Cleveland Browns are working out quarterbacks this week, including veterans A.J. McCarron and Josh Rosen per sources. Cleveland looking to go to training camp with 4 quarterbacks, with Jacoby Brissett to be QB1, and then you have, depending on what happens with Deshaun Watson's status. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to announce that Andrew Berry watches the Cleveland Browns Report, because just the other day, I did 5 free agent quarterbacks the Browns could be looking at. And lo and behold, who's on the list? Josh Rosen and A.J. McCarron. Now, apparently the Browns are kind of going sour on Cam Newton. Fitzmagic would just be fun, because if he were to go in, it would be in relief, and that's where he's at his best. We're not going to say number 5's name because that neck is not coming to Cleveland. But Josh Rosen and A.J. McCarron, I don't want to say I called it, but I kind of did call it, and so I'm a little proud of myself right now. But maybe I just got a little lucky. Now, if you compare their stats head-to-head, it's not pretty. Now, there is some interesting stuff on the A.J. McCarron side, though, because he backed up Deshaun Watson in Cleveland, so there's a bit of a chemistry right there, and that's got to count for something. Plus, I mean, the Browns at one point were interested in A.J. McCarron. If it weren't for a fax machine, he might have, played in Cleveland. So there is something to McCarron maybe coming out of retirement, because he did not play last year. He tore his ACL when he was with the Falcons and took a year off, and now maybe he's in the best shape of his life. It's best shape of life season. Ultimately, though, listen, Andrew Berry is just doing his job. Most teams go into training camp with 4 quarterbacks. Why? Because you're not going to have Deshaun Watson throw the ball every single snap, but you need other people to deliver the football to receivers and whatnot. So you're going to need an extra arm or two to just spray the ball around a little bit. Plus, yeah, he should be thinking of the worst. He should be thinking of contingency plans. And if that means you're looking at your new 3rd-string quarterback because you want to have a good backup plan in place in case something were to happen to Jacoby Brissett, that's your job. That is your job as a GM, so that's really all this is. But while we're speaking about Andrew Berry, I want you guys to weigh in on this for me. Grade his tenure so far as the Browns GM. What grade would you give him? An A, a B, a C, D, or F? I'd be hard-pressed to find anyone who would really give him below a C. The guy has done a fantastic job. And he inherited a lot of good things, right? But still, he's definitely made his mark on this team already. All right, next story on today's show. Are the Browns signing Sheldon Richardson? I'm going to give this one 2 Bernie heads. So we're not all the way at 4 where it's a fact, but it's also not 0 where it's fake news. We're kind of in the middle because an interesting report came out from Mary Kay we're going to look at. But first, I want to tell everyone watching about the awesome benefits I mentioned earlier at the top of today's show over at Mint Mobile. Not only do they have unlimited talk and text for you guys, but they also offer high-speed data over the nation's largest 5G network. And a really cool feature and benefit about Mint Mobile is, let's say you got some young ones, right? Let's say you got a family with kids and a wife or a husband and whatnot. Well, Mint Mobile, yeah, they're not going to leave you out hanging to dry. They also have family plans. That way, everyone under your roof is covered. With plans starting as low as $15 a month, pretty hard to beat all the great benefits that Mint Mobile and Ryan Reynolds, may have heard of him, is offering you right now. So head on over to mintmobile.com/chatsports. Links in the comments and the description of today's show to start your awesome new cell phone plan. Going back to Sheldon Richardson really quickly. So the Browns are reportedly interested in signing Richardson after they basically withdrew from the Ndamukong Suh race, and now it looks like he'll probably end up with the Raiders, which was kind of thought all along. But maybe now Andrew Berry's honing his sights in on a former Cleveland Brown, right? Richardson, if you don't remember, was cut by the Browns last April in a cap casualty. You had Andrew Berry step into the GM role and go, there's some positions I don't value as highly as others. One of those positions is absolutely going to be the defensive tackle spot. Now, Richardson played 17 games in 2021 for Minnesota. Don't worry, Marsh. So he made 7 starts last season. He did a lot of good things, and Mary Kay, like I said, included him in her last article where she said Richardson would be a guy to keep an eye on. Now, last season in Minnesota, up in the frozen tundra, up in Minneapolis, he did a lot of great stuff for the Vikings. Like I said, making 7 starts and playing in all 17 games. That age, if you can get 17 games out of a vet, you're going to be happy, especially when he produces 3 sacks, a couple tackles for loss, and a forced fumble. Now, as for his PFF grades, believe it or not, he ranked higher than the Malik McDowell, and Malik Jackson. So if you're just looking through the lens of PFF, Richardson was a better interior defensive lineman than what the Browns had last season. Now, a year later, things can change drastically. But when I look at this depth chart here, you know Taven Bryan is probably the most likely to start. You know Perrion Winfrey as a rookie is probably going to be a rotation-ish guy. Then you got Elliott and Togiai who need to step up and prove themselves. But if Andrew Berry gets some good news on the Deshaun Watson front and he says, you know what, if I was a little reserved before about going all in on this season, now I'm not. I want to get the best 11 possible starters on defense. And if that means bringing in Sheldon Richardson and maybe stunting Togiai or Winfrey's growth a little bit, so be it. I think that's something that could pass through Andrew Berry's head. So let me open it up to you guys now. Get you guys more involved in the show because that's what we do here at Chat Sports. It's all about a two-way conversation. Should the Browns bring back Sheldon Richardson? Drop a Y for yes or an N for no. Let me know what you think down in the comments section. For me, why not just bring Richardson back, bring him into camp, see what kind of shape he's in, right? See if he can still play at an NFL level. Or if you find out, yeah, talk to his agent and he ate a bunch of tacos this offseason and is not looking like he can play football at a high level, so be it. Now, I understand the idea or maybe the concern of, no, it's time to let Togiai and Elliott really get some reps and figure out if those 3rd and 4th round picks were worthwhile. I understand that. But why not just bring in more competition for camp? Sure, you'll take some reps away from them. That may prove to be valuable. But this is the NFL. This is not college or Pee Wee football. This is not time to start being Oprah. You get a training camp rep. You get a rep. No. Let's get the best football team possible. And if Richardson is the X factor in this equation to do that on the defensive line, I'm open to it. All right, next story up here. Does Vegas know something? We always keep an eye on what Vegas is looking at because I'm giving this one 2 Bernie heads. If you missed it yesterday, there was a bit of a tidal wave that went through the sports books out in the desert, and it bode well for the Cleveland Browns, actually, because all of a sudden a bunch of lines started changing. Chops may have been the first one to notice it when he tweeted out saying DraftKings took the Browns off the board for AFC North Division bets. Why would DraftKings do that? Well, if you're not really plugged into the gambling world here, this could mean DraftKings is worried, hey, right now we have the Browns, say, plus 700 or plus 500 to win the AFC North. That's way too high. especially if we caught wind Watson's not getting a lengthy suspension. Let's yank that off there so no one can get it at plus 500. And if Watson doesn't get a suspension, all those plus 500 tickets, that's some good value. More for you, Cleveland. Another good Browns Twitter follower, if you haven't already. They tweeted out saying Browns Super Bowl odds on July 10th was 34-1. Fast forward 10 days later, down 28-1. That's a big change, guys, right? That's not something that just happens willy-nilly. So when you look at the AFC North odds here, the Ravens are plus 140, Bengals plus 180, Browns plus 300, and the Steelers plus 800. So right now, that's what at least we have over at BetUS, our sportsbook partner at Chat Sports. But plus 300 is pretty low for a team that doesn't know who the starting quarterback is, or pretty favorable when you don't know who the QB is for sure as a fact for week 1. Now, we've got more Vegas odds and other rumors to get to in just a second. But if you guys have not subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and do so because I'm trying to reach 11,000 subscribers by week 1. Shout out to all of you guys watching for helping us reach 10,000 already. But if you haven't yet, join one of the fastest growing YouTube communities here by hitting that sub button. Like I get back to, what does Vegas know, right? These big line shifts, they don't just happen willy-nilly. Vegas catches wind of something a little bit before the public does because they're not going to get burned. Vegas is not going to lose a lot of money because they found out when we all found out after an Adam Schefter tweet dropped that Deshaun Watson is not receiving a lengthy suspension. To me, this might signal, and I'm overreaching a little bit here, and I know that, but Vegas might know something that's a little bit more on the positive side for Watson playing in 2022 or playing more games. Now, if you guys had to pick a winner, who would you pick? Would you go with the Browns, the Ravens, the Bengals? I don't know how you could pick the Steelers this year. I mean, we're going to talk about the Steelers at the end of the show, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But I'm putting my CLE for Cleveland down in the comment section. Let me know who you got winning the North this season. All right, final segment of today's show. Jimmy Garoppolo trade rumors to the Browns. Are they dead? Is it over? I'm going 3 Bernie heads, not all the way at 4 because there's probably a little bit of wiggle room, but it definitely seems like it's a close case or close-ish on Jimmy G coming to the land. All right, Mary Kay talked about this in her recent article saying the Browns are reportedly not interested in trading for Garoppolo. Just yesterday, some interesting news broke on the Jimmy G side of things because the 49ers gave Jimmy G and his agent permission to seek a trade. Basically, John Lynch, the GM over in Santa Clara, being, yep, I can't find a partner. You guys can start picking up the phone. And I think Baker's trade, which was a conditional 5th for a 4th, definitely impacted what Garoppolo's value is because, 1, that's one less team that could trade for a quarterback, and 2, Baker didn't go for all that much. And the Niners probably are going to be a little disappointed with whatever they yield in a trade. Now, Brad Stainbrook, who, by the way, just got verified, so cheers to him, tweeting out saying, when Garoppolo conversations have taken place, they have been considered general conversations and nothing serious at this point. There is a belief by some in Cleveland that Garoppolo could end up being released. That last note right there is very important because if you're Andrew Berry, why are you going to trade one of your assets away for a player who might have end up being released and you could just sign him off the street, right? That's something that's definitely going into the equation for all GMs right now, as they're like, we could trade a pick for Jimmy G, or we could just wait out the Niners because they don't want to pay Jimmy G to be a $24 million backup quarterback. He'll probably get released, very little dead cap, and then we can all pounce on the quarterback. Listen, unless it's a 12-plus game suspension, I don't see the Browns trading for Garoppolo. They seem pretty content in Brissett. Now, that could all just be GM and coach talk because they don't want to, deflate their backup quarterback's aspirations if he were to step into the line of duty. But unless it's this huge suspension coming to Deshaun Watson and the Browns are like, whoa, we gotta find a new path at quarterback, I don't see Jimmy G coming to Cleveland. So the other day, we crossed 10,000 subscribers here at the channel, and for that, we've been doing a countdown of 10 reasons why the Browns will win the AFC North. So reason number 5 I've got, the Steelers will go sub 500. The era is over for Mike Tomlin. He doesn't have Big Ben anymore. The streak is ending. I fully believe in my heart the Pittsburgh Steelers will go sub 500. This really doesn't actually factor into the Browns winning the division all that much, but I just wanted to take this time right now to bash on the Steelers. So if you hate the Pittsburgh Steelers, just spam FPIT down in the comments section because it's got to end. It just has to. He has done it one too many times where he has salvaged what looked like a lost season. Last year, the Steelers started 1-3 and somehow ended up in the playoffs. Now, it's probably good that they ended up in the playoffs so they can get embarrassed and Big Ben can cry in the cold again. By the way, who won the last playoff game at Heinz Field? Does anyone know? I'm trying to remember who would have. 2020. I wonder who won the last playoff game at Heinz Field before they changed their name. Oh, well, think about it later. All right, last week on our live show, we did our countdown for a stadium name challenge, and we've got the results in. And I want to share them with all of you guys here at the end of the video. So we did a vote between Jim Brown Stadium and Lakefront Stadium because First Energy might be getting stripped away. Don't have time to go through all those details. But the winner is, drumroll please, Jim Brown Stadium by an overwhelming majority. When I voted for Lakefront Stadium, happy for Jim Brown Stadium, a Browns legend, no doubt about it. He's not dead, though. Marshall Green, my producer's like, Jim Brown's dead? No, he's not. And that's always kind of weird when you name something after someone who's alive. It's a little like, all right, we get it. Relax. But that's going to do it for us on today's latest rumors. If you have not subscribed already, make sure you go ahead and do so down in the comment section below. Let's give some shout-outs here. Spam FPIT. I need a sip. All right. Chubb saying FPIT, Josh voting. Well, the votes have been casted, and we went with Jim Brown. We have majority rules here at the Browns Report. We are a democracy. Godchild, what about the Dawg Pound? Yeah, see, here's the thing. You already have a Dawg Pound in the Dawg Pound, right? It'd be a little weird to be like the Dawg Pound Stadium, and then there's a Dawg Pound in the... It's a lot of pounds. That sounded weird. All right. FPIT 5 times, KJ. Cheers to you, my guy. No doubt about it. Yeah, let's toss some names on screen here. Chubb, Cincinnati is screwed. They won't afford $240 million for Burrow. Yeah. If Cincinnati is crying over paying Jesse Bates right now, wait till Burrow is ready for his extension, which will be next year, next offseason. You can't be extended until you finished 3 years on that rookie deal. Okay. Josh saying I like FPIT Stadium. Yeah. And speaking of stadiums, I mean, Jim Brown Stadium Paul Brown, excuse me. Paul Brown Stadium in Cincinnati is apparently going to get removed. They're going to go corporate. So only the Bengals will be able, right after the Steelers have the new worst name in the NFL, Acrisure Stadium. I've got no doubt. I've got no doubt the Bengals will find a way to go, no. We can come up with the worst name. Watch us. It's going to be Skyline Chili, no doubt about it. And it's going to be the Chili Bowl. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be disgusting. All right, FPIT, I voted for Jim Brown. We've got some more stuff to get to on today's show, so don't go anywhere. If you haven't liked the video, by the way, what are we doing? It's 110 people watching right now, only 30 likes. I'll pump those numbers up. Wolf of Wall Street style. Wolf of Cleveland here. Those are rookie numbers. We got to pump those numbers up. So we're going to get into an interesting segment. I thought it would be fun for everyone to kind of peek ahead right now, all the way to training camp, all the way. 5 days away from now, training camp. 5 players to watch for at Browns training camp. 5 players that really got to make a name for themselves, in my opinion. So we got that coming up. Marshall, you ready? All right, let's dive into it, guys. Today's Browns Report is sponsored by Mint Mobile. They've got so many awesome benefits and coverage plans for the Dawg Pound. But one of the greatest things of all, they've got coverage plans and plans starting at $15 a month. They're owned and operated by Ryan Reynolds, the actor who you might have heard of before. Yeah, he's helping you guys out with great deals. When you go to mintmobile.com/chatsports, we'll tell you more about their awesome benefits later on in the show. But today's show, we're looking at 5 players on the Browns roster with the most to prove at training camp, right? 5 guys that have to really make a name for themselves, and maybe put some fear and worry and doubt aside. First one up, you may have already guessed it. I'm going Anthony Schwartz. This is a player who hasn't played football this entire offseason, of course, yet it feels like his value has gone down in some way possible. As weird as that sounds, it kind of feels like Anthony Schwartz has a lot to prove going into this season. after we fabricated sort of doubt throughout the offseason a little bit. I think the spotlight is on him, maybe more so than anyone else. I mean, especially when you draft David Bell. Okay, that's not really showing a ton of confidence in Schwartz, but you also didn't bring back Jarvis Landry, so that kind of negates it a little bit. But regardless, Anthony Schwartz, a third-round pick last year, taking 91st, 92nd overall, didn't have a phenomenal rookie season, had a great play in the Chiefs game, and he also did not run the full route in the Texans game, which led to the ultimate demise of Baker Mayfield. So if you love Baker, blame Anthony Schwartz. If you're happy Baker's gone, thank Anthony Schwartz. But last year, just that one touchdown in the Packers game, which we don't even need to talk about anymore. But here's my question for you guys. Do you guys think Anthony Schwartz will live up to the expectations? Is he going to be the third-round cheetah track star that we all bought into? At least I did, when he was drafted last year. Let me know. Give me a Y for yes or an N for no. I've gone back and forth on Schwartz this entire offseason because, one, let's just be honest, that's how the offseason works. Us talking heads got to invent new takes every once in a while, and we talk ourselves in and out of things. But I'm not giving up on Anthony Schwartz. It's only been one season. He dealt with some soft tissue injuries last year, a concussion, never was really able to take the plane off the ground. It also didn't help. Baker sucked. Baker was injured, but he was a bad quarterback still, right? So that definitely did not help a rookie wide receiver who was kind of stuck in the mud to begin with, and all of a sudden, you're not picking up any traction on offense at all, right? So I think Anthony Schwartz definitely still has plenty of potential in him to be a football player and not just a track player in pads. I'm going to combine the next two names to watch here. I'm going Jordan Elliott and Sheldon Day. We're looking at the interior defensive line here because this has been kind of like the Brown nerds' big talking point the last couple months is what is Andrew Berry going to do with his interior defensive line after not making money moves this offseason? When you look at the depth chart here, you got two new starters compared to last season. Jordan Elliott, third-round pick out of Mizzou from 2020. He's slated to be a starter alongside Taven Bryan, who they signed in free agency from Jacksonville. 2018 first-round pick. But then you've got Sheldon Day, who's been a vet, Togiai, and Perion Wynn for your rookie. But I'm really looking at Jordan Elliott and Sheldon Day because Elliott is getting the nod to start here, and Day is fighting to keep his job. So they're at very different spots right now. And when you compare their stats head-to-head, sure, it's not really fair when Sheldon Day has played longer than Jordan Elliott, but neither player has really gotten I wouldn't say a fair chance, but has not been given the ultimate green light of you are our starting defensive tackle for the whole season, right? For weeks to come. No, it's always maybe been in spurts and whatnot, spelling an injury here or there. So I'm excited to see what Jordan Elliott can do as he's looking like to be the starting defensive tackle alongside Taven Bryan. And if Sheldon Day can keep his job, right, a bit of a journeyman, joined the Browns back in 2020, is he able to stay on the roster? Because he's definitely a bubble candidate. We've got more players to watch and get to in just a second, but Mint Mobile has some awesome benefits that I really wanted to share with all of you guys. Not only do they have unlimited talk and text, but high-speed data on the nation's largest 5G network or 4G, whatever's fastest wherever you are, plus a mobile hotspot, and probably best of all, plans starting at $15 a month. Inflation sucks right now. No one can say otherwise. Luckily, Mint Mobile is there to help your wallet while you're paying the price at the pump. When you go to mintmobile.com/chatsports, you'll be able to get in for one of the best cell phone providers out there, best cell phone coverage providers out there. It's really simple. You can keep your phone. You can keep your phone number. There's these new things called eSIMs. So you don't even have to go into the store and spend half your day standing in a weird AT&T Verizon store. No, thanks to Mint Mobile, they've got you covered. So make sure you get started over at mintmobile.com/chatsports. I really want to ask this question too before we get to the rest of the names on the list. Name a roster bubble candidate for me. We talked about Sheldon Day as someone who definitely needs to have a good training camp to get a spot on this roster because I'm guessing Andrew Berry's going to go 4 defensive tackles. If Sheldon Day makes a case, maybe he'll open it up to 5, but Day's definitely got to have a good camp. All right, the next guy I'm watching for is Harrison Bryant. he's not a bubble guy. I think he's pretty well cemented at that tight end 2 position. But is he a tight end 2? Or did he just kind of fall in the right place at the right time? Because you don't have Austin Hooper this year, and so all of a sudden everyone shifts up a little bit. But then Andrew Berry didn't address replacing Hooper. No, you know what I mean? He didn't go out and sign or draft a tight end. So Harrison Bryant right now is looking around going, I'm tight end 2 on this roster. I need to keep it that way. I don't want to not look like a tight end 2 and make Andrew Berry go, you know what? I made a mistake. I got to go sign someone in free agency. I'm not liking how this tight end room is shaping outside of Njoku. Now, Bryant in his 2 seasons so far with the Browns, 6 touchdowns, 45 receptions. He's had some great plays and moments, like the Ravens game last year, the 4 interception embarrassment that couldn't result in a win somehow. But Harrison Bryant, like I said, he's got to put any doubt to the side about where he stands on this depth chart. He needs to convince Andrew Berry, you made the right decision by focusing your efforts on other positions and allowing me to step up and be the second tight end and sort of replace Hooper / Njoku, who were tight end 1A and 1B last year. Now it's a little more clear-cut and defined with Njoku 1 and Bryant 2. My 5th and final player to watch is Jacob Phillips, the linebacker picked out of LSU, and unfortunately injuries have just not, benefited him or have gotten in the way of him having a good start to his career. Now we're going to look at some notes I've got on Phillips in just a second, but if you hate the Ravens, if you hate the Bengals, if you hate the Steelers, if you hate all the above, you're at a good channel right now. So make sure you go ahead and subscribe. You're going to fit in quite nicely here at the Browns Report. Getting back to Jacob Phillips, though, I'm hopeful that Phillips can show I am a future inside linebacker to be paired with Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Right, you brought back Anthony Walker on a 1-year deal because he got hurt early on last year. Then he actually looked kind of sneaky good as the year progressed, maybe a little bit underappreciated, if I do say so. But I'm optimistic that Phillips this year can show, you know what, you got Walker back on a 1-year deal. I'm your guy after that. I'll split some reps as the season progresses. Because in his career, unfortunately, last year he got hurt in training camp, he got hurt in his rookie year. So he's never really been able to take off, but 42 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, a sack, a pass breakup, 4 pass breakups. He's putting together some good notes, and when we've seen him play during training camp and in limited time during the regular season, he's definitely showed why he was drafted in day 2 of the draft. But now it's time to really show convince Andrew Berry, that's right, I am your go-to future linebacker alongside JOK. Now, before we get to the end of the show, which if you don't know, we like to do here at the Browns Report, is in honor of reaching 10,000 subscribers, we're doing 10 reasons why the Browns are AFC North champs. So, without further ado, we're on to reason number 6, and that is, I think the Browns wide receivers are sleepers. And this may be very hypocritical of me, because I've definitely beaten the drum of let's look at Will Fuller. Let's look at improving the wide receiver room. But the more and more I kind of look at it right now, you have Amari Cooper. Now, if you want to just, suck off Madden, they have him as a 10th best receiver in the NFL. I don't think he's 10th best receiver in the NFL. But we'll use this in our narrative and twist it to our advantage. But DPJ, I'm all in on this guy. I think he's going to be someone where if you are a Browns fan, you will draft him late in your fantasy league because no one else has him on their radar. But he's going to get a lot of targets. Anthony Schwartz is wide receiver 3. It's really David Bell, but Bell will work out of the slot. But I just pencil in the veteran ahead of him for the time being. But Anthony Schwartz, hopefully he can make and take that next step and look like the 3rd-round pick he was. And Bell, I'm super high on. I mean, this is one of the best and most consistent receivers in the Big Ten over the last 2 seasons. He's going to show out. Now, when you look at Amari Cooper, because this is the big-ticketed item, right? This is the $20 million guy on the roster right now who has always been good. There's no kind of spin zone or something I'm trying to force-feed you here. Let the stats speak for themselves. Sure, a bit of a down year last year with Dallas. Still put together 8 touchdowns. If you have a down year, and it's, by the way, he had 8 touchdowns. Is that, how low can it really get for this player? So, I'm all in on Amari Cooper this year. I think he kind of got lost in the shuffle of Deshaun Watson and Baker Mayfield trade saga. but Amari Cooper was one of the best pickups across the entire NFL this offseason. While we're talking about wide receivers, why don't we end the show with this question? Who is your all-time favorite Browns wide receiver? Let me know in the comments right now who your favorite wideout is. All right, let's give some shout-outs here. Big Sip. Favorite Browns receiver. Marsh, do you have a favorite Browns receiver? Is it... Oh, Marsh is a big Giants fan. Is it Odell Beckham Jr. for Jabril Peppers?
The fact that OBJ did not work out in Cleveland is beautiful. And it's only one guy to blame. I'll let the comment section figure that out.
Yeah. We don't have time for this. All right, Matthew says Landry. It's a good one. Owen says OBJ. Robert going with Webster, a great one. Yeah, a couple of Webster slaughters coming in. DJ Roach saying Warfield. Yeah, some good ones to pick from, no doubt about it. Juice is probably a little bit more the recency bias, and that makes some sense here. What's going on, Matthew? Awesome channel, Go Browns. Hoping to one day see our lads play in London, but living in the UK makes it a little tricky. Playoffs, here we come. Cheers to you, Matthew. I don't know if you're a soccer fan, and I did not say football for a reason, because it's no longer football across the pond. Did you guys see Chelsea and Everton, the two EPL teams, came to the U.S., played a little preseason game yesterday. The MLS beat both of them. It's official. We have won the Revolutionary War. If there was one last battle, it was soccer versus football, and we have won now. All right, we got super chat from Tyler. Tyler was super chatting last week. Josh Gordon, and it isn't even close. That's a great one. I don't know why I didn't think of that even earlier. He was him. Yeah, it's crazy when you look back and go, Josh Gordon put up how many yards and how many touchdowns with what quarterbacks? Like, that is something that always gets lost of. If Josh Gordon actually was in his prime with a good quarterback, it would have been the next Randy Moss. I really do believe so. Riley, so sweet. Riley. All right, Cardiac, yep. Josh Gordon, a great one here. We've got a mailbag coming up, by the way, in just a moment. So if you want to get some questions in on the show, really simple stuff. You can do what my friend Tyler just did. You can super chat, or you can use hashtag Browns, skip the line, and, skip the line of super chatting, or you can use hashtag Browns, be at the mercy of producer Marshall, and we'll figure out if you're able to get on screen or not. Because you just got to go. He gets to pick and choose. Can't put it any more other way. We need some more questions, though. We also just got our first super chat of the day. So shout out to Tyler. If you want to get on screen and get a beer's cheers, really simple stuff. We'll get the bottle service out for you if you super chat. All right. Yeah, we ready to go? We ready to blast off here? Okay. Use hashtag Browns or super chat. Marshall Green ready on the ones and twos. All right, guys, let's dive into the final segment today, a Cleveland Browns mailbag. Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report by Chat Sports. I'm Matthew Peterson, answering questions in our mailbag video, which is from our live show every single Thursday over at 4 Eastern. Make sure you tune into that if you want to be on a future mailbag. Now, let's jump into our first question, which comes in from Owen Barth. Owen asking, why does no one ever give Dobbs a chance? Is he really worse than A.J. McCarron? Good question, Owen. Dobbs actually went to my alma mater, the University of Tennessee. Got to watch him play his senior year, my freshman year. Wasn't that good in Pittsburgh. He had some opportunities, not really opportunities. He came in for a couple plays when Big Ben inevitably broke every bone in his body and then was like, actually, I'm fine. I'm Superman. I'll go back out there with a billion ice packs on his shoulder and legs. But is he worse? No, but I think what you're looking at here is Andrew Berry just wants competition to let the best rise to the top. This is not bringing A.J. McCarron to replace Josh Dobbs. This is let's bring in four quarterbacks like Brogan Roback, because you tend to do that during training camp anyway, and let competition figure out who your best practice squad quarterback is. Question coming in from my guy Justin Trimble. What's the harm in throwing Julio Jones an offer? So here's, I guess, the harm in it, is you're taking away reps from receivers that you have a lot of belief can really blossom this year. And that's okay to do if Julio Jones is a proven, reliable upgrade. But what he's done the last 2 years, he hasn't looked like that. So I think when Andrew Berry's like, you know what? Sure, we could bring Julio in, but what if we bring him in and it kind of stunts the growth of Schwartz, Bell, and DPJ a tad, and then Julio kind of sucks like he's done the last 2 years. I get that andrew if you just look at names, you're like, Julio, always good at football. Why don't we just bring him in? Yeah, it's a little bit more than that. They want to see their other receivers. Andrew Berry wants to see his picks pan out. Cardiac Dogs Podcast. Bigger mark, number 2 wide receiver or starting defensive tackle? Great question. I'm going to go with number 2 wide receiver. I think that's I'm going to say that because Andrew Berry has shown he doesn't mind kind of half-assing the defensive tackle position because he's baiting you to run the football at Myles Garrett or Clowney, right? Sure, you could definitely poke some holes at Bryan and Elliott, but at the end of the day, you got to pass the football in the NFL. And you have to have more than one option because if Amari Cooper is proven to be the only go-to, defenses will pick up on that. And all of a sudden, they'll be testing you and baiting you to throw to DPJ, Bell, and Schwartz. And if they aren't living up to the hype, it'll be hard to move the football down the field. We got a question coming in from Edward Joseph. Could you see the Browns signing anyone before camp that isn't a defensive tackle? Okay, it's a good question, Edward, because we definitely talked a lot about defensive tackle free agents. When I go through the Browns roster and maybe some weaknesses, one would be tight end because you lost Austin Hooper, which could be addition by subtraction, but you didn't bring anyone else really in except for some UDFAs and whatnot. No one all that notable. So when you look at the depth chart here, everyone's moved up a row after Hooper was released, and we're all buying in that Harrison Bryant's going to be a tight end too. So what about a player like Jared Cook? Sure, an older player in his career, but for an older player, last year for the Chargers, putting together 564 yards and 4 touchdowns, I mean, those stats with the Browns would have been one of the best receivers. So I'm interested in at least saying, hey, Jared Cook, are you in a good football shape? Because we want to see if you can compete on this roster, especially if this is a Browns team that gets good word from the Deshaun Watson side of things, and it's all chips into the middle of the table. Let's go and get the best starting 11 possible and not wait for some players to develop. So I'll let you guys be the GM here. Should the Browns sign Jared Cook? S for sign or P for pass? Let me know what you're thinking down in the comments section below. All right, next question coming up. Comes in from Joshua Miller, and he was suspended to a couple. Okay, so we're talking about Josh Gordon. Josh and I were talking about this earlier. Suspended a couple games when he got those career numbers. So, yeah, we were chatting about some of the best receivers in Browns history, some favorite ones. Where Josh Gordon did that 2013 season with bad quarterbacks, and he didn't even play the full season. It's insane to think what he could have done. All right, next question coming in from Soul Train. Will the Browns wait until cut down to 53 before they sign some more guys? So there's a couple big, I wouldn't say necessarily hurdles, but calendar dates during the preseason training camp, because they might wait till 53 and see if any notable players were cut on other teams. Kind of like last year when Kadarius Hodge was cut. That's when the Lions decided, okay, let's go bring him in off waivers. So that could be something that Andrew Berry looks at, is once cut day happens, yeah, we're going to make a move. There has been some chatter that after 53-man roster and pre-week 1, you might see the Browns actually be a little bit busy. Wouldn't rule it out because, I mean, just the other day, you saw Kyle Rudolph get signed by the Bucs. I wouldn't say out of nowhere, but somewhere out of nowhere. So GMs, it's their job, and they like to do their job well. John Lowe with our next question. How does producer Marshall feel to lose the battle to 10K? He was pretty upset. I'm not going to lie, guys. When we beat him by about 40 subs, you better believe the first thing I did was send a text to Marshall Green. All right, if you guys want to be on the next mailbag, by the way, as he gives me the bird for that, make sure you subscribe to the channel. So if you're like, hey, I want to ask a question and be a part of this interactive show, it's really simple stuff. All you got to do is subscribe to get free Browns content. All right, another question coming in from Josh. Do we go all in this year with Jimmy G if Deshaun Watson is suspended most or all of the year? Or a go with a competent backup to Brissett and punt the season and possibly have another last season? So let's break down this question in 2 ways. if Deshaun Watson is suspended for, I'll say 12 or more games. I think that would kind of be close to my threshold. If Jimmy G can be got for a 6th or a 7th because the Niners have no one else calling, yeah, I'd be open to it. I mean, why not, right? Let's get a little weird, have a little fun with it, especially if he's released by the Niners, which a lot of teams could be waiting for that to happen because they know that San Francisco ain't going to pay him $24 million to back up Trey Lance, most likely. Now, as for going for a backup for Brissett and punting, I don't like saying punting because this is a really good team. And last year with Baker Mayfield, a hurt quarterback, they were able to churn out 8 wins. If Brissett is healthy all year and is maybe a hair above a hurt Baker or whatever, who's to say they can't go 9-8 and steal one and 10-7 and you're in the playoffs, right? Or you're in a playoff hunt. So no, I don't think you're punting even if you lose Watson for the year. Now, if you guys have not turned your notifications on, make sure you go ahead and do that already. It's really simple stuff. You just click the bell icon, and then you select it to all. And then you just go to your settings and make sure you allow notifications. That way, when we drop a new video about the latest Browns news, rumors, trade rumors, you can be one of the first to click on it and get a shout-out on the show and be a part of the Noti gang like KJ and Grant, always one of the first to comment. Scorpion, Night Fright, Tim, All Hats No Break, Brandon Williams, Jeffrey, Scarehouse, Irish Mike, Dion Owens. If you ever want to get wild and have fun with some crazy trade ideas, check out Dion Owens because he gets very creative in the comment section with different trades. So join the Noti game, get a shout out when you get those notifications on. Question coming in from Matthew Hancock. So stoked for Amari. I've rooted for that guy from the start and was jumping when we traded for him. Got to grab that jersey next. Speaking of jersey, by the way, really quickly, I think Grant Delpit, when we're recording this right now on Thursday, rumor is he might have changed his jersey number from 22. I didn't see what the new nerd number was, but it's not going to be number 2. But you're right. Amari Cooper, I think, was kind of the lost gem of this offseason. I mean, when you just look at the stats and what he's done so far in his career, when your down year is 865 yards and 8 touchdowns, or 680 yards and 7 touchdowns, if that's the lowest low, you got yourself a great wide receiver one. So I am very excited to see Amari Cooper prove to be a more reliable and accountable, not that they didn't have that at Landry, but this is a little bit more of an explosion site in terms of Amari Cooper. Next question coming in from KJ and Grant. Excuse me. Okay, that's not good for audio. Do you think that David Bell will get over 3 touchdowns? Yeah, I'll go with he can go water or wet. Producer Marshall whispers in my ear. Yes, I will say 4 touchdowns for David Bell. I think especially with the amount of targets coming his way out of the slot, he can do some damage. All right, I didn't really cough here. That time I helped everyone's ears out. All right, let's move on to our next question here. Oh my, I coughed and now I'm crying. Patty Timms. I'm dying up right here. What is a sneaky training camp battle? Sneaky training camp battle is, I think I might faint or something right now from the cough. Okay. No, we're going to make it through this. What is a sneaky training camp battle? Wide receiver, defensive tackle are some of the more popular options. So if I had to pick between one of those two, I'm going to go wide receiver. And for this reason. All 4 names at the top are locks. Jakeem Grant is a lock. I'm dying. That's 5 wide receivers. They probably take 6. Who is that 6? It's going to be the 6th-round pick, Michael Woods out of Oklahoma. You'd like to think Andrew Berry will give his rookie at least 1 year on the roster. Probably won't dress for many games. Isaiah Weston's a fun UDFA to watch for. Out of Northern Iowa, he can do some damage. Jamarcus Bradley. Wims is more of a veteran, but he's got to keep his hands to himself. So I think wide receiver will be fun. I know this is really nerdy, but that's what we get sometimes on the show. I love the idea of looking at who that 6th wide receiver will be. Super Chat from Cardiac Dogs Podcast. Okay, for Super Chat, I got a beer cheer, so now we can cool over the pipes. Saying thanks for the awesome daily Browns content. F the Steelers. F the Ravens. F Cincy. Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Woof, woof. Appreciate the Super Chat, Cardiac Dogs. Always love the content you guys put out as well. We got a question coming in from Jared. Will Peoples-Jones get above 8 touchdowns? 8's a big number. eight's a big number for a wide receiver too. So I hate to be the party pooper. I'll take the under if you're going to set it at 8. Now, it's very up in the air. Who will his quarterback be for all 17 games? But even if it is Watson for an entire season, I'm still going to err on probably not going to be that high of a number. So is that our last question? We got one more coming our way. Josh Miller, I already know this is going. Do you think Matt won't wear a golf shirt for tomorrow's update? I got bad news for you, Josh. My whole closet is this, so it's going to be that. I want to ask this question before we get on out of here, and I can go drink some water. Have you been to Berea before? Have you been to Browns training camp before? It's coming up in a couple days. Want to put a little tickler out there, see what the pulse of the fan base is like. If you've been to training camp before, give me a Y for yes or an N for no. Holy shit. Guys, I don't know what happened. I started to choke a little bit. I thought I was drowning above water. That's really how I felt right there. Miles has 20 sacks. So I didn't actually, I want to take a second to talk about Myles Garrett really quickly. I didn't put in the show because I'm a coward. But he got a 99 rating on Madden. That's awesome. It's Madden though, so don't, it's Madden. It's Madden ratings. But I got to admit, him getting above TJ Watt, when Watt, I hate to say it, is statistically better over the last couple seasons. No, KJ and Grant, I'm not good. Patrick, bring me some water. But, yeah, I thought it was a bit peculiar. Thank God. Why'd you bring me warm water? Where'd you get this from? The first well? But, yeah, I love you guys. Love you, Alexander. But, yeah, going back to Myles Garrett to wrap that up. No, I won't dive into it too much more, but is he better than TJ Watt? I don't know, Jim. All right, Miles with 20 sacks. That's where they're from. All right, let's get some more quick shout-outs here before we, send you guys on your way. I always appreciate everyone that tunes into our live show, by the way. It's just more fun that way. So if you're coming across this for the first time, wondering what the heck it is, it's really awesome stuff. We do it every single Thursday at 4 Eastern, and you can get on screen. Interactive show, and that's what I love so much about it. Last question from Owen before we sign off and out of here. How many receptions will Jakeem Grant get? Jakeem Grant's going to be mostly used in a special teams role. So he might get some gadget plays, kind of like we saw from Dimitri Felton last year. I'll put him down for 35 receptions. How does that sound? All right, hold me to it. If it's a reception more, well, I won't do anything. But you can hold that against me. All right, that's going to do it for us on today's show. I'm going to go cough a bunch more. Cheers to you guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll see you guys later with more Browns news and rumors.